Hello again, everybody. Zack Attack is here with the Atakline for this Thursday, November the 13th, 2014. Yes, indeed. I've been making attack lines for Thursdays for the last 2 weeks, so just kind of could make them on Thursdays again. Alright, because I normally don't make Thursday attack lines much anymore, but now I have been for the last 2 weeks. Let's get on down with the news. Start up with your Billboard #1s. Well, for the second straight week in a row across the board, #1 album and #1 single, Taylor Swift reigns supreme again. Second week of the #1 album, with 1989 selling an additional 400,000 copies. She is slated to reign again for a third week, thwarting Garth Brooks and Foo Fighters for getting that #1 slot out of her. And of course, the #1 single is still Shake It Off, also 2 weeks in a row. Of course, I think it's 4 or 5 non-consecutive weeks in a row of Shake It Off. 2 weeks in a row, but 4 non-consecutive weeks overall. So congrats to Miss Swift, still reigning on top of the Billboard charts at #1 single and #1 album. Now, of course, a couple weeks before Taylor Swift released her album, of course, I live in Detroit. And whenever certain Detroit artists release albums and tour, it's a big deal. Of course, Bob Seger released his new album White Out a few weeks ago, and we're still waiting a Detroit date. He's going to be in Saginaw. The tour kicks off this week, I think. In Saginaw and also in Grand Rapids, but no Detroit date yet. But this past summer, for many people, it felt empty because another Detroit native, or should I say Romeo native, did not tour this year or release a new album this year. But he will be releasing a new album next year. Just announced today. The KID, Kid Rock, is back with a new album coming out in February 24th to be exact. The album is called First Kiss. It's kind of a weird name for an album for me. Coming from the guy who released an album called Cocky and released songs like You Never Met a Motherfucker Quite Like Me. Now the album will be his first under new label. For the last 16 years he's been under the Warner umbrella with Atlantic. He is still on the Warner umbrella, but instead of being on Atlantic, he's going to the big house, going to Warner Brothers for his new album. According to the press release, that the album was produced by Kid Rock, with the exception of 2 songs co-produced by Dan Huff. Now the big question is, what will it sound like? Now, being a Michigander and from Romeo, because that's where Kid Rock is from, I went to the same high school as him. Not the same year, but you know what I mean, you know. Then he went to Romeo High School. I went to Romeo High School. I DJ at Romeo High School still. I love his old stuff. You know, Dead Without a Cause, History of Rock, Cocky, you know, rock and rap style. His new stuff's okay, but I still miss that old country rap rock style of Kid Rock, and I think a lot of people miss it too since he started singing a lot more on his records since All Summer Long. And they're saying that they said on here that we're not going to tell you what it sounds like. We just couldn't do it justice, and we're confident the music will speak for itself, according to the press release. Expect the first single to be released at the top of the year, with multi-format airplay, rock and country probably, a music video, and the rest of the shit show that goes with releasing an album, including a tour. He will be touring in the summer of 2015, and the question is going to be, where is he going to play in Detroit? In 2013, he did a whopping 8 sellouts at Pine Knob, the most he's ever done in his career. So a lot of people may want him to sing at Pine Knob. Or will he do Comerica Park again? Well, some people like DTE because it's not in the big city Detroit, more in the suburbs. So no matter what Kid Rock does, it really goes on tour. 2 things are guaranteed. It'll sell out in more than 1 show. So there you go. Kid Rock, new album coming out in February. First Kiss, with the new single coming out at the top of 2015, and a tour to follow in the summer. Alright, let's get on with some TV news. A lot of, let's say, some reality TV news. We got a new show coming. A musical based on a reality show. Can't believe I'm saying that. But first, let's get on the news on an old reality show set to return. Now, of course, in 2002, Ozzy Osbourne became more of a pop culture icon, whether you liked it or not, with the premiere of his very successful and swear-worthy MTV reality show The Osbournes, which lasted about 3 or 4 seasons. In the last couple of years, though, Ozzy and the family have regretted the show. It was a bad decision for them. And many people felt the same because it kind of made Ozzy Osbourne more of a mainstream star and it kind of ruined his career in many people's eyes. But despite what they said in the past about their experiences on the Osbournes, I think their thoughts, the negative thoughts about the negative effects that the show had on them, are starting to change. As the patriarch of the Osbourne family, Sharon Osbourne, shared on her show The Talk that The Osbournes is set to return sometime next year. She's saying it'll be more like a mini-series, about 5 episodes or 6. Now the big question is, who's going to air it? Now MTV aired the show in the past on its original one, so there's no word on who's airing it yet. And from Sharon Osbourne not mentioning MTV, looks like MTV may not air it. Well, it's a whole different landscape. Ozzy Osbourne's show would not fit the demographic these days, which are pregnant teen girls. I'm sorry, MTV's not the same, as we all know. So, we'll see what happens with the Osbournes and where they will air, but apparently, the Osbournes are returning sometime next year. Crazy, but that's how it goes. Let's hope they get rid of that Pat Boone cover for their theme song, but it's kind of unique, though, to have that as the theme song for the show. So like I said, they had a lot of negative thoughts about the show in the past, but I think that's the old saying goes, time heals all wounds, and I think they've now taken the positive of the show, and now they're doing it again. Because Ozzy wasn't sober, apparently. So next year's supposed to be a big year for Ozzy. The Osbournes are coming back, and one last album in tour with Black Sabbath, apparently. So there you go, big year for Ozzy playing, with the return of the Osbournes leading the way. Now with news on A&E. Now, A&E is one of my favorite networks when it comes to reality shows on that channel. Storage Wars and all them. But, of course, one of the most popular reality shows of A&E that's not DD, which I'll get to, Duck Dynasty in a minute, is Wahlburgers. Of course, the 2-season reality show, the Emmy-nominated show, based on the life of the Wahlbergs and their restaurant, Wahlburgers, which just opened up the Toronto store. Now, there will be a Wahlburgers spinoff, apparently. There will be a new reality show coming next year. Donnie Loves Jenny. Of course, Donnie Wahlberg, who just got married to Jenny McCarthy a few months ago, have their own reality show, which will be kicked off with a 1-hour special about their wedding. The show will air with, I think, 12 to 13 episodes ordered sometime in 2015. So we have no specific air date and time. Maybe I would not be surprised if they keep it on Wednesdays. That's why I think they should keep it on Wednesdays when Wahlburgers isn't on. Have it on a Wednesday. That's also the time at night when Duck Dynasty is usually on. Because usually I think Duck Dynasty has been on at 10 and 10:30 has been Wahlburgers. So see what happens with that show, Donnie Loves Jenny, coming up sometime in 2015. Of course, Donnie Wahlberg's a singer with New Kids on the Block. And speaking of music in Duck Dynasty, DD's had their fair share of musical moments. They, of course, released the Christmas album last year, Duck the Halls. But now, how about a full-blown Duck Dynasty musical? Yep, according to several reports, that there will be a Duck Dynasty musical in the works for Las Vegas, Nevada. According to the New York Times, the plan is for the Duck Commander family musical to debut at the Rio Hotel and Casino in Vegas, which is currently home to Penn and Teller. The musical will feature actors playing members of the famous Robertson family and telling the story of how the family went from rags to riches. The musical will be based upon Phil Robertson's autobiography, that's what I'm reading, and everything. The show is being developed by Broadway producer Michael David, who produced the Tony Award-winning Jersey Boys, who is, for the moment, brushing up questions about whether or not the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender-friendly Broadway community and the Robertson family make a good partnership. Of course, last couple years, the Duck Dynasty brand has gotten a little punched with Phil Robertson's anti-gay comments. So it'll be interesting to see how he will fit, how his family will fit in the Las Vegas land style. David told the New York Times that the show will end up challenging the views and assumptions of people across the political spectrum more than theater does. The Robertsons are so unusual, the stories so juicy, and theater should not be limited to telling stories about people you resemble or revere. The Duck Commander family musical will feature a 14-song score that's a mix of country, blues, and show tunes, the Times reports. It'll also address Phil Robertson's comments about his anti-gay comments. Of course, Dee Dee ain't the big show it used to be. The ratings have been down, especially in the wake of Phil Robertson's comments to GQ a few months ago. But Dee Dee's still a viable brand that still can have its own musical in the making for next year. Till then, we got Season 7 coming up next week. On Wednesday, November 19th at 10, 9 Central on A&E, of course. Sadie, of course, Willie's daughter, is currently in the final 5 of Dancing with the Stars. So Dee Dee's everywhere. You know, Dee Dee Mush and everything. Now, like I said, the Duck Dynasty musical is coming soon. A&E is not involved. That's why it's called Duck Commander, because that's their company. So there you go. That is it for the Attack Line for today. Thank you all very much for watching. That mind, y'all been attacked by the news from Zach. See you later. Yeah.